the sibling rivalries and the all of the things that come with inheritance and being passed something and being given something, all of that leaves with it. We are here to manage what God has given us, period, point blank. That's it. So because we're here to manage it, we have to transact in a way that is different than if we are pursuing ownership. Because again, the bank says that you are a homeowner. If you're paying a mortgage, you don't own the house. The bank owns the house. Same with anything else. The banks, the debts, all of those things are designed to have us on a hamster wheel, continually transacting from a very low vibratory space. And the people that have the wealth, the people that are in control, the families that have been in control for generations and generations and generations, they don't transact, they don't focus on ownership. They focus on control because they understand they can't own anything. So they set up trust. They use the tools that will allow them to pass forward what it is that they're building forward to their future generations, to children that they'll never meet. They make those decisions and then they set that in motion and they pass that information and they pass those assets forward. And sometimes, even if the assets don't make it, if you passing forward the knowledge, what you do once, you could do twice. So if you're teaching your children and your heirs about stewardship and not teaching them about ownership, because again, ownership is a lie. Ownership is a lie. You have to pass the proper mindset forward, not just the money, not just the things, not just the land and all of that. But if you don't give them the knowledge on how to think and how to maneuver and how to control and manipulate their way, manipulation is not a bad thing, by the way. It's the direction that you put it in. Marketing is manipulation. Advertisement is manipulation. Everything has the ability to influence us. But if we use that for the betterment of our people, then it's a good manipulation. We're doing this for the greater good. And we have to stand back and we have to say, okay, let's look at the people that are in control. What are they doing? What are they using? How are these families able to be in control? How is there 1% that's in control and 99 that are worker bees? Those are things that we have to think about. What are they doing differently than us? Because obviously they're doing something. So the have and the have-nots is not so much about those that have money and those that don't. The have and the have-nots are those that have the knowledge and those that don't. Because knowledge is not discriminating. It's not a black and white issue now, and I will touch on that, but it's not a black and white issue. It is a knowledge. It is a have the knowledge and don't have the knowledge issue here. And so I'm here to bring some light onto the piece of the puzzle. My purpose is assisting people with protecting what it is that they're building as good stewards and those that are focused on self-mastery. It is my dream that we will eventually, we have the capacity to go from the descendants of slaves back to the descendants of masters, not slave masters, but self-masters. Those that understand who God is, where God is, that we've been given authority and dominion over this realm and to operate as such. Now, there are people of certain persuasions, and I call them clear people, but Caucasians tend to be the ones that have this knowledge. They tend to be the ones that have been given certain privileges and things of that nature. And because they have the knowledge, that is why they have remained in control and we have been at a disadvantage. But trusts have been in operation since as far back in the days of Julius Caesar. And so trusts even predate the Internal Revenue Code, which is why the wealthy use it, because the wealthy had to leave a loophole in this system to be able to transact through. So it's not white people and black people, not when it comes to commerce. Transactions see no color but green. And so we have to start understanding that the way that we're transacting We're transacting as slaves. We're not transacting as masters. Contracts, commerce, rule the planet. That's what it is. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. It's contracts. There's somebody somewhere transacting something. There's something going on, passing hands. Currency is flowing in one direction or another. The market is going up and down. This is what this system, this is what this reality has provided for us. And so the majority of us, they program us to transact as slaves. So they'll make the suggestions, get a will. And many of us won't even do that. But if you notice, we have the proclivity to get a will because we thinking, okay, all we got to do is write out our wishes, and if something happens, we can transition and our descendants can get what it is that we're leaving and that we have built for them. The problem with that is this: there are third-party people in place to take over that and to interrupt and intervene in that. And then that's when the attorneys show up. That's when the tax people show up. That's when the judges show up. They will pick your estate apart, before your descendants even have the ability to even go through the paperwork. They've already determined what you have, what they can take, whether they're billing you through hours or keeping you coming back and forth in court, having to pay filing fees for this and this and that and the other. This is what the system is doing. And ultimately, when you have siblings and things like that, and you're fighting and you're spending your time bickering over majoring in minors, I'm gonna say that, then that gives them even more ability to capitalize on the legacy that you have been given. And so their legacy is, in essence, is eating off of your legacy. Their children are eating off of your children, because if they can continue to bill you, and like Miss Vicky said, 8 years of probate, 8 years of attorney's fees, 8 years of court hearings, 8 years of trying to come to terms with your loved ones about what we have, and if we can come in the middle of the street somewhere and bring some resolution to avoid these third parties coming in to invade what it is that you've inherited or what you have left behind. And so trusts are very, very, very important, because that is what they use. They use trusts to bulletproof what they're building and to distance themselves from the liability. So they don't mind not being the owner on the paperwork. If the trust is the owner on the paperwork and they control that trust, it's the same thing. And so you have possession is 9/10 of the law. The 1/10 left is title. The trust holds title. The trustee takes control, which is the possession. So they have both, you have both sides of the fence totally cohesive and flowing together once you set up the right type of trust. Now, there are multiple trusts. There are multiple trusts. I deal in irrevocable trust, and I'm going to explain to you why I deal in irrevocable trust. I deal in private trust because, for one, you don't want nobody in your business. You don't want people to be able to see what it is that you have, that you've been left, that you're building, okay? And irrevocable trusts are considered to be a separate person from you. So unlike a living trust or revocable trust, a living trust just means that you are doing business as a trust. So when Ms. Vicky was talking about her family members and how they had to wait the 3 weeks before they could move forward, they had a living trust in place. But with an irrevocable or a private trust, business continues on as usual. You don't have to wait the 3 weeks. It's as if you're still here. The successor trustee steps up and keeps it moving, because the trust is not considered to be you. So with the revocable trust, the living trust, the trust is considered to be you doing business as a trust. But with the irrevocable trust, the trust is considered to be a separate, totally separate person from you, which means that You are no longer liable. You have a fiduciary responsibility as trustee to manage the affairs of the trust, how they're spelled out in the documents. That is your first obligation. However, the liability, meaning if someone wanted to sue you, they wouldn't be able to touch anything in the irrevocable trust because that doesn't belong to you. So when you don't own anything, there's nothing to take. Now, please let me know if I'm making sense to you by just putting a Y in the chat box so I'll know that we are all on the same page, or if I need to back up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So you want to create distance between what you're passing forward and yourself, because this is going back to the dirt, okay? So you want to create the distance to make sure that once this is a benefit. This is not about so much when you transition, because private trust, I've been living as a trustee since 2009. It's the best decision that I ever made. Okay, so it's nothing that is about when you leave this plane. However, when you leave this plane, which is a definite thing because we're all going to leave, you want your heirs to have the least amount of grief as possible, because they're already going to be hurt. They're already going to be, you know, in anger sometimes, and pain. It comes out in different ways. And they will end up taking that out on each other when there are things that they have to come in agreement for. Then that's when the other monsters and the demons start, you know, mama liked you better, all of that stuff comes into play. Okay, so you want them to have the least amount of grief as possible. And the way that you do that is to set your affairs in order right now while you are breathing in a properly constructed trust, so that something happens to you, things will continue on as if you were still here, and you delegate them to be successor trustees if they are trustworthy. Now, the key word in trustee is trust. You want to make sure that you have someone that is a trustee that you absolutely trust, because that person has the ability to make decisions about everything that you leave behind. And if you have someone that's just been waiting for you to die, your whole legacy is going to be out the water just like that. They will have the ability to sell, buy, all of that. So you want to make sure that you have a trustee, successor trustee in position that you absolutely trust with everything that you have, because they are now in control should something happen to you. If you're in business, you want to set your businesses up in a way that ultimately are owned by your trust, your private trust, your irrevocable trust, because there's a litany of benefits to doing that. But the main thing is this: if you're dealing with the public is crazy, period. So you never know who it is that you're getting when you're doing business. Now, you have some people, they will try to just come after you and take everything that you have. But if you don't own anything, there is nothing to take. And I'm saying own on paper. We can't own anything anyway, so we might as well just let that go. We might as well just let that go and focus on stewardship. But if for some reason you own something on paper, someone is going to try you. They're going to try to take what it is that you have. That's a guarantee. Just doing business, period. You're going to have adversity come your way sometime. If you haven't had it happen, keep living. It's going to happen. So when you structure your affairs in a way where you control it, but you don't own it, that basically takes you out of the realm of being lawsuit attractive. It means that if you get behind on your taxes in an individual capacity, that what you have in the private trust is off limits. Nobody is going to put a lien against that. Nobody is going to seize that. Okay. It means that you've created distance between what it is that you built and where you're housing it at. And private trusts are like the foundation of a house. Irrevocable trusts are like the foundation of the house. You don't put the walls and the ceiling and the carpet and the windows and all of those things up first. You lay the foundation. And many times people think that you got to get some money in order to get a trust. The best place to be is when you don't have anything and you lay that foundation properly and then you build on top of it. Now, if you have assets, if you have things like that, intangible, from intellectual property to 500 acres, it's all valuable. So you want to make sure that you protect everything that you can. And then in the living trust, you want to just have the things that, you know, you don't really, you're not really mind, you know, you don't really mind if someone sells that. You want, you know, like your gold watch to your nephew, or, you know, your desk in your office, or things, you know, things of that nature, your personal effects. But if you have things of substance and value and you plan on them moving forward and you want to pass them forward to the next generation and to the next generation and to the generations and the children that you'll never meet, you have to put them in a house that is designed to do that. And unfortunately, living trusts are not designed to do that. Living trusts they have no asset protection quality to them whatsoever, because it's you doing business as a trust. So the irrevocable trust, the private trust, if you got a chance to listen to the video, I broke down what a trust is, the parties to a trust, and I gave a lot of information in there to let you know that this is what the powers that be, this is a mandatory part of what they use. They use private trust and they use life insurance. And those are two things that we don't use. We don't use those, which is why the wealth gap is the way that it is, which is why they're playing for keeps. We're just playing because we don't have the information. So now that we have the information, we have to start transacting differently. And that requires us to focus on being stewards, which is first and foremost, being stewards over what God has given us. Understanding we don't own anything, we can't own nothing, and putting that whole bed to, you know, putting that to bed, putting that lie to bed. And then focus on taking what it is we've been entrusted with, putting it in a proper vehicle, training up the child in the way that they should go, meaning showing them how to be trustees, showing them how to be stewards, first learning ourselves and then displaying that lifestyle in front of those that are watching and that we're responsible for. Because being a trustee is a lifestyle. It's a total 180 from anything that you can imagine. My reality started shifting once I started transacting as a trustee, because I understood it's the highest on the food chain in commerce that you can go. Okay. And I started understanding that how the wealthy have set things up in this matrix. Now, when I talk about the matrix, a lot of times people think that, you know, this is some illusion, or this is not real, or this is a movie. The Matrix is a documentary. We are in a construct that is controlled. It's not about right and wrong. It's about control. That's why you see things that are wrong happening. And nobody within the system sees anything wrong with those wrong things that are happening, because it's not about right and wrong. We have that concept about right and wrong. What's right for you may be wrong for me. What's right for me may be wrong for you. So right and wrong, there's no even playing field when it comes to right and wrong, legal and illegal. Legal means taxable. Illegal means not taxable. Illegal doesn't mean wrong. Illegal means the system doesn't have the ability to tax you for it. So you have cigarettes that are killing people, but they're legal. You have things that, you know, driving down the street, you got to put your seatbelt on. If you don't put your seatbelt on, you can get a ticket. It's illegal. Why? Because you can't be taxed for illegal activity. So illegal means not taxable, legal means taxable. Right and wrong is not in the system the same as it is within us. This is about a uniform system of 8 billion people on this planet and bringing them under control. And what that means is that your life, your individual lives, our individual lives are all parallel, but each one individually is different. We all have different perspectives. We all have different views. We all have different thoughts about what is right and wrong. So the way that we are managed is in a uniform commercial, under the Uniform Commercial Code, which regulates contracts and transactions around the world, not just here, around the world, on the seas of commerce. This is what is going on. You don't want to transact on the low end of the totem pole if you know who you are, if you remember who you are, if you remember that God has given you dominion over this reality and authority, then you want to transact from a higher plane. You want to transact as a steward. And so that's what trust will help you do. Transact as a steward who is focused on managing what the Most High has given to you, and then being responsible with it. Now, there's a paradigm shift going on right now, a wealth transfer going on. There's a lot of things going on right now. And so there's a sense of urgency. There's a sense of urgency. This is not something that I'm just giving to you just because this is some normal seminar. This is not a normal seminar right here, because I don't come on, I'm totally outside of my comfort zone right now. I'm very private. I only deal with specific people. And I'm coming onto this Zoom because of obedience, nothing else. It doesn't matter if you do business with me. It don't matter if you don't. You need to find somebody that is going to set you up. If you need my help, I'm here to help you. But this is not I'm not selling anything. I'm letting you know because I have a burden for the South. And I don't know if it's because my ancestors are from the South or what it is, but I have had, Mississippi especially has been on me heavy to the point to now I have to go to Mississippi. I'm in California. Even with everything that's going on, I have to go to Mississippi because the Delta is a stronghold for spiritual warfare. And so there's no such thing as coincidence. If you have been entrusted with something from the Most High, it was specifically for this time. And we are on this call together. It's a divine appointment. It ain't no coincidence. It ain't no happenstance. It's time for us to shift because we have generations coming behind us. If we don't do something now to change the narrative and to shift back to being masters instead of slave-minded, victim-minded individuals who are waiting for permission to be free. We don't need nobody's permission to be free because nobody has taken our freedom from us. We voluntarily surrender. And when every day that we refuse to level up and be the best versions of ourselves that God has created us to be, we are submitting to being slaves. Personally, the time is up for that. The powers that be know that their time is up. That's why you have all of this chaos and all of this going on in the world, because there is a fight and a push. A spiritual war is going on right now. And the Mississippi has especially been a stronghold where the enemy has bound us up. It has been a stronghold where the enemy has bound us up. So much land in Mississippi and in the South has been stolen from our people. The people, we've inherited things on the backs of our ancestors that have been taken from us because we did not have the knowledge to keep it. So it may not be as serious as what I'm saying to you, but the reality of it is that area specifically has to be liberated. And the only way that we're going to be able to liberate that area, the flag already then came down. So that's one major thing. That's one major thing. But there's a lot of Confederate mindsets still there. So the flag coming down ain't changing the mindset of the oppressors. However, they understand that their time is very limited, which is why there's so much fight and pushback from us rising and remembering who we truly are. This is something that you don't have to have anybody's permission to do. You just have to make a conscious decision that the generational curses stop with me. I am going to be the one to set this in a whole, change the trajectory of those that are coming behind me, because I need to learn how to transact differently and teach those that I'm responsible for how to transact differently so that we can get on the right side of history, y'all. That delta, all of these acres and land, they're not making any more dirt. So land, you have people that inherit dirt, they don't think that it's really worth anything because it came to them so easy. I'm gonna tell you right now, I ain't inherit no land. I wish I did, because I'd be doing everything that I could to be self-sustained, self-sufficient for me and my family. That would be first priority. That would be first priority with me. I didn't inherit it, but I have a passion and a purpose to help other people who have been gifted with that and that are in that position to get control over it, because this economy is about to collapse. It ain't an if, it's a when. It's coming down. The Federal Reserve notes, all of the things that we've been using as comfort zones, Federal Reserve notes, which are not money, by the way, they're promises to pay. All of that is coming to a head. And if you have anything that is not protected, you're going to lose it. Plain and simple. You have to get what you have outside of the jurisdiction of those that will rob you for it. And the only way that you could do that is by putting it into a private trust, because a private trust is not a legal entity. It is a private contractual agreement between the creator of the trust, the trustee who is going to control it, and the beneficiaries who are going to benefit off of it. There's no third parties that get involved in that. There's no third parties that can tell you what you can and cannot do. Now, of course, you can't go out and just break the laws as we know them. Okay. But my point is, like an LLC, a corporation, a nonprofit, those are legal entities, taxable entities. A private trust, yes, it does have a tax obligation, but that's a whole nother topic that I would love to discuss with you, because the taxes are not the same as they are for the legal entities. And the IRS taxes trust the way that the trust tells it to be taxed. Now, again, they had to leave a loophole for themselves in this system so that they can stay in control. Another thing is that when the economy collapses, you have your money in individual bank accounts or corporations or things like that. Trust accounts are the only accounts that'll make it through. Trust accounts are the only ones that will make it through another Great Depression, because there will be another one. This system is headed for something major. And the only way to make sure that you and your family are straight is to level up, start transacting as a trustee, get your affairs in order now. You don't have next week, you don't have next month, you don't have January 2021. We have now. While that courthouse and that recorder's office is open, you need to get your trust set up. You need to reconvey that property from your name or from whosoever will's name and put it into a private trust and then manage it. And if we silently do that, if just 3% of Mississippi and landowners melanated people did that, that would ripple such a phenomenal effect forward, because that's 3% more that we're in control and that we know we're going to pass forward, that was successfully positioned and protected for us to pass forward. The more of us that do it, the better. I've been operating, like I said, as a trustee since 2009. I have over 100 trusts. Okay, so you can't have too many trusts. You know, you want to make sure that you have those contractual agreements in place and put your tangible and intangible assets into those private trusts, maintain control. Something happened to you, the successor steps up, business continues on as normal. You don't have to go to court for it. You don't have to get no attorney to come tell you anything. And see, that's the difference, because I'm not an attorney, and I meant to say that at the beginning of this. I'm not an attorney. I've been doing this for 15 years. I wanted to be an attorney until I started finding out about what attorneys really did behind the scenes. That's no shade to anybody on here that may be in that field, because everybody has different intentions on what it is that they're doing. So if you are in that field and you are helping people for real, you have my ultimate respect. But the majority that I came in contact with were not in it for that reason. And so that kind of detoured me. I have a natural passion for law. I have a natural passion for contracts. This is something, I'm not coming to you as an estate planning expert or a PhD holder or someone that charges $300 an hour to talk. I'm coming to you as my family. I'm coming to you just giving you the raw, real, and uncut. Things are headed for a serious downturn. If you have something to lose, you got to take advantage of this time to protect what it is that you've been given. It's the only way we're going to make it out of this on the right side. If you sleep, you need to wake up, because time is not waiting for anybody. All of this chaos and these distractions and all of this out is there strategically to keep you focused on the wrong thing. That's what all this that's going on is doing. These elections, this virus, now it's not saying that it's not real, but I'm saying you have a priority. And people in the White House have never come into your house to sit down and eat dinner. Never. Those people talking about what's going on over here and what this person is doing, what that person is doing, and all of this scandal and political entrainment, brain entrainment that's going on. Nothing those people are talking about has anything to do with you protecting your family. They're not telling you to do those things. They're keeping you in chaos, focused on something else so that they can steal. It's going to be another strong arm robbery, just like it was in 1933 when the bank shut down for 4 days. And when they opened back up, they was under the jurisdiction of the Federal Reserve. And all those banks went out of business that didn't want to do business and be regulated by the 12 districts that they had set up for the Federal Reserve. They committed a strong arm robbery overnight. Just like that, no warning, made the people come, turn in all of their gold. Now, all of a sudden, gold was illegal. You had to turn it into the post office and Postmaster General in exchange for paper. You could only keep a little bit on you for jewelry purposes, but the majority of your gold had to be surrendered through HJR 192, and you can look that up. So history repeats itself. History repeats itself. They are going to pull another strong arm robbery because the Federal Reserve bubble has to bust. We've been passing promises to pay, paying debt with debt since 1933. This country has been in bankruptcy, Chapter 11, since that time. So we're not using real money. We're using 4 cents to print. That's what them $100 bills and $1 bills are worth, 4 cents of print and paper. And they burn it when it gets back through circulation. So if it was worth anything, they wouldn't be burning it. We have to get back to getting gold and silver for our families. We have to get back to being in control over our land. And the only way that you're going to be able to do that successfully with everything that's going on is through private trust. That's it. You can set up everything else that you need, your will, your living trust, all of those things. But ultimately, you need an irrevocable trust in your life. You need one for your family. And so if you need help with that, I'm here to help you. If you don't want to work with me, like I said, please find someone to get you set up, because time is of the essence. We don't have time to play with this, y'all. It is a now moment thing. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just making you aware. We don't have time. If you're slow in making decisions, the spirit of truth should be dealing with you, because I have nothing to gain by giving you this information. Ain't nobody paid me to be on this call. I haven't asked for no money. I'm here to help. I'm here to give you what I've been given to say and to let you know and encourage you forward. Please get your house in order, because what you think you have, you don't have it. You ain't paid for nothing yet. You've been passing promises to pay. Ain't none of us paid for anything yet. And so another thing is that when the trust takes position and you're transacting as a trustee, the revenue, the currency, everything that you're doing on behalf of the trust, that is the trust now. That's not you. That's not you. That's the trust. You have to understand that we have been set up and lied to on a lot of levels. It's not a game. And it's a fight of the fittest. If we're going to change the direction for our descendants, we have to make a move right now, which means all of these acres and stuff that that are around you, the people that own this land, the people that that own this land, you got to get it out your name. You got to LLC, you got to get it out your name and put it in a private trust. So that is what I came to stress today. And I haven't really, pondered any of this. I'm just telling you what's on my heart to tell you what I've been led to tell you. We have to level up. We have to transact differently. We have to do the things that are uncomfortable in order to change the narrative. Because if we got one opportunity, and this is the opportunity, while the world is going crazy and people are tripping out, get your house in order, because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. So that's all that I want to say. If you want to talk to me further, Sharonda and Miss Vicky and Miss Revelyn, they have the ability to connect with me. There were some questions that I was supposed to answer on this call that people sent in too. And I was meditating. I ain't gonna make no excuses, but I was meditating and I totally forgot to get those questions out of my email. So they're all relevant and they're all related to, though. I remember one was regarding, if you're single and you don't have any children and you're not married, do you need a trust? Yes. If you're building a life and you want to pass something forward and leave your mark in the world, you want to get yourself a trust. You want to, if you have acres that need to be protected, you want to get yourself a trust. You want to set yourself up and your family. And the way that I do it with my private clients, I restructure their entire life. So if they have businesses and things like that, I build them a strategy and make sure that everything stays within their control and that there's no breaches that lead out to anybody being able to step in. Because trust, even if someone is married, If the husband's name is a trustee on what the parents left and the wife's name is not, the wife has no entitlement to anything that the parents left for the son or the husband, because the husband is the trustee. So this trust thing, this trust game is something else. You know, it ain't too many things that will bulletproof things from, you know, marriage and things like that. So you have to really be cognizant that you're working with someone that has your ultimate best interest in mind, because I'm not going to factor myself in if I work with you to keep getting paid off of you. My job is to get you set up, help you to get set up so you can run your ship. And you don't have to have no third parties along the way trying to step in and tell you what you need to be doing, what you're not doing, make me a trustee, put me in control, all of that. No, you need to know how to navigate your ship through this reality. The sooner you learn how to do it, because it's a lifestyle, then you can teach the ones that are that you have influence over, so that they can maintain that wealth and hold on to it and continue to build it over time. So we've been set up to focus on ownership, which is a big lie. We've been set up to just get wills, which will end us up in court. You know, we've been focused, we've been trained and programmed to just do the bare minimum, you know, to make it. And as a result of that, our descendants end up inheriting debt instead of, you know, instead of being masters. We continually push that slavery forward. When we don't leave a blueprint and make the decisions, if we have things that we want to stay in our family for generations, multi-generational, you know, we have to set those rules in place and then start walking it out. And it's not a difficult thing. Like I said, it's the best decision that I ever made. I have 2 grandbabies. I'm 51 years old. I have 2 children. And so with that being said, you know, this is not a game for me. I'm at that point. I've never been married. So it's me. They are dependent on me to get it right. And so I have to do the things that are going to make sure that my legacy is established, that my grandchildren and their children have everything that they need, even if it's just the tools to do it. Not giving them, you know, passing them millions and billions of dollars, but the knowledge. Because if they know how to maneuver, no matter what this economy does, trust law has been here so long. Trusts have been, like I said, trusts have been here since the days of Julius Caesar. So you know how many times the economy and the currencies and the things have changed. The temperature of this world has changed since that time. Yet trusts have made it through every single thing. So we have to think about that. It's not like credit. It's not going to, you know, die when you die. You know, it's not like, you know, some of the other temporary fixes. This is a multi-generational solution. Right at your hands, right at your fingertips, right here by divine appointment, you're getting this info. So for whatever it's worth, I'm here to assist. And like I said, if you don't want to work with me, please get someone to help you get your stuff in order, because time is of the essence. The time to do it is now. We don't have time to be playing around. All right. I thank you all for listening to me vent and rant and all of that. And, you know, hopefully I'll meet some of you all when I come to Mississippi. I'm going to turn it back over to my sister Sharonda and let her, you know, take it from here, and, you know, we'll just go with the flow. And if you have any questions, she'll give you the information on how to direct those questions. Thank you so much.
Let's give Dr. Spade a hand. I mean, I am I'm gobsmacked. I'm because just on a very personal, practical level, the mindset of stewardship, for me, that was just a game changer in changing my perspective on that. So wonderful job, Dr. Spade, and we thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We are actually not doing a huge Q&A, but if you're just joining us, you can sign up for a free 30-minute consultation with Dr. Spade. What we'd like for you to do is, if you will email Revelyn Coleman, and that email address is rgip Coleman, and I'm putting that in the chat. If you will email her with your name, put your preferred email address in there again, and your phone number, she will forward that information to Dr. Spade, and Dr. Spade will contact you to schedule a consultation. Additionally, Dr. Spade has blessed us with a gift of the Private Estate Organizer. This is a PDF that we will send out an email that you can begin reading about the information that she has just given us. She has it in a booklet form. She also has a video. When you received your registration confirmation, there was a link to her video in the confirmation. However, I've put the link to her video in the chat, and that will also be a link to that video in the follow-up email, so that you can, you have some concrete resources that you can listen to, that you can read, and after that, you're well informed. And when you sit down with your 30-minute consultation with her, you'll have some baseline knowledge and information and some questions that you'd want to ask her to utilize your time. And then also this seminar is recorded, and that link will be included as well. Now, we did have a few technical difficulties at the beginning, so the video does start right when Dr. Spade starts. I'm sorry, Vicki. But technology, and it's fine. We're we press forward, but all of those links will be
you did
in
me
the
a
video.
favor.
Well, I appreciate you coming on and bringing friends and family and being an advocate for wealth, can you call it wealth management? I don't know. This is preservation, I think, is the word that Vicki used, for being an advocate for that, and bringing in your friends, because each one teach one. And we have to pass along this knowledge. And I love that Dr. Spade says, to work quietly. Like, this is not, this is a very different approach to wealth, because, as African Americans, we're used to seeing the showy, the boisterous, the big car, the big house. All those things are signifiers of wealth. But then we look at someone like a Bill Gates, or somebody who may drive a Ford Prius, a Toyota, all of these things, their focus is not on the material, but it is on building that generational wealth. So again, thank you so much, Dr. Spade. Thank you, Ms. Vicki. Revelyn Coleman, do you have any parting words for us tonight?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
First of all, Vicki, as always, you deliver, and in your own personal way, with your own stories of your family and the experience, and how that brought you to write our Sheldon Roberts Rules of Order. Dr. Spade, I met Dr. Spade because of Vicki. And one of the things she said to me, because y'all know I'm like a butterfly. I do what I want to do when I want to do it, and I spend all my money. I'm the youngest in the family. I don't have anything. So, but Dr. Spade said to me, you have to be a steward for children you will never meet. And that was such an epiphany for me. So I want to thank her for all of her interactions and also for sharing her passion for that preserving wealth for our future generations. So if I could clap real loud, if I could say hooray, a beautiful presentation. Thank you so very much. And then if I could say to each and all of you who joined us on this particular Zoom call, I want to thank you very much for participating. And I believe my voice is about to go out. I think I've been more nervous than Dr. Spade about this whole event because I am so passionate about land retention. That's one of the our big objectives with the Mid-South Progressive Agricultural Group, working with all of the alongside Winston County Self-Help Cooperative, and putting on these Saving Rural America seminars, is that we are all about retaining property in our communities. So with that, before my voice gives out, I want to say thank you on behalf of the organization, and especially on behalf of my sister, Evelyn Cummings, who is the founder of the organization. She had that vision, I don't know however many years ago, but we are totally grateful to her. And Sharonda, you have been a real trooper on that Zoom thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how you didn't.
Yes.
I don't know how you didn't scream. So
Yes.
we want
You
to thank.
Well, Rep, before you go, Stephanie has a question about how to join MSPAG.
Stephanie. Well, just
Just-
give me your information and we'll be talking to you.
She's out of Arizona.
Just email her.
Are you in the
She's out of Arizona.
But they have land in Mississippi.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll chat.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, this has been my pleasure. I'm so glad that to be a part and to help in any way that I can. So again, thank you, Dr. Spade. Thank you, Miss Vicky. Thank you to our partners.
Oh, could I ask Dr. Spade a question?
Yes.
I know I'm kind of out of line. Dr. Spade, is there ever a time that you feel you might come to Mississippi?
I'm coming next. When the thing is, I want to come, but I want to make sure that it's purposeful and that I help as many people as I can when I come. And so if there's anybody that, wants to work with me, give me a reason to come. I'll be there even faster.
I think someone in the chat says that he would love to meet you in Mississippi. So hopefully, Mr. Jarrett, make sure that you send on Revelyn your information, and then we'll see how we can make that happen.
Mr. Jarrett is
Dr. Spade
a member of our group.
Okay.
Would love to help.
All right. Well, there you go. All right. Are all hearts and minds clear, as they say?
Yes.
Okay. Well, again, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining the call. Again, thank you, Dr. Spade and Ms. Vicky, for your time tonight. Be on the lookout for the email, the follow-up email with the resources in it. And make sure that you email Revelyn Coleman to set up your consultation. Okay. Yes, Dr. Spade.
One more thing. Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We can hear you.
I also created a product for those of you that want to get this done in the privacy of your own home. And the the website or the link that you can go to, it's a personal protection pack that I put together. And the website or the domain link is preserveyourlegacy.com. And if you go there, you're going to see a wealth preservation strategist personal protection pack that has a lot of information. It has also your advanced medical directive, your last will and testament, your living trust, which is revocable. And it also has a private trust that is irrevocable. And then it also has instructions and details on, you know, what to do with that information, and just a lot of very valuable information that you want to have. So if you want to do your own documents, because, you know, of course, working with me is a little pricier than if you did it yourself. So you can go to preserveyourlegacy.com. If you use the coupon code abbreviation for Mississippi, MISS, you will get 50% off. So it'll run you $750 for that pack, but it'll have all the documents that you need to get yourself in order. And you can reuse that information for, you know, as many people in your family that you need. So preserveyourlegacy.com, and you can do it yourself, or if you just want to work with me, then you can get that information to Miss Revelyn or Miss Vicky, whoever invited you on the call, and we can set something up. And I would love to help you. Okay, that's all I want to say. Forgot about that.
Awesome. And I'll make sure that we include that link also in the follow-up email, so everyone has all the resources that you need. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Good night. Have a wonderful night.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.